everybody. Ron Wildman in here on your Middle Georgia Spotlight. Today our special guest, the Executive Director of Keep Making Bib Beautiful, ASHA Allen. Thank you for being with us today, ASHA.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, full disclosure now. I got to be full disclosure. I'm a member of Keep Making Bib Beautiful Board of Directors.
Yep, you are a long-standing member.
So get ready for some tough questions.
Okay.
Big thing at Keep Making Bib Beautiful, we keep getting grants coming in. Just last week or so, we had two fairly good-sized grants.
Yes, we received a total of $55,000. That was $25,000 came from the Georgia Beverage Foundation for the Made to Be Remade Recycling Grant Initiative, and then the other $30,000 was actually by way of Macon Bibb County through former District 8 Commissioner Virgil Watkins for the Public Safety Fund. So yes, some exciting times.
Well, what can we do with that money?
Well, as far as with the $25,000 for the Made to Be Remade Recycling Initiative, that's going to be focused on, well, ideally, of course, recycling. We chose to focus on the 31206 zip code in South Macon. After doing some research and some conversations and just data that we received from Ryland Environmental as well as Macon Bibb County Solid Waste, we chose that zip code because it is the one with the least amount of recycling as well as the most contaminated as far as recycling for those who do recycle. And so we're doing a whole education initiative in the 31206 zip code, focusing on the elementary schools that's in that zip code, as well as the neighborhood watch associations that are in that zip code.
One word sticks out in what you said, they're contaminated. Tell me what that means.
Well, when we recycle, we have to recycle properly. And unfortunately, it's not just a Macon Bibb problem, it's not just a Georgia problem, it's throughout the country. Everyone does not know how to recycle properly. And so you have to know what's recyclable in your municipality.
These are strict standards too.
Well, yes, because once a recycling load is contaminated, once it reaches the recycling processing facility, if it's contaminated, it can be just one thing can contaminate an entire load, then it's actually sent back, and whether it's Ryland or in our case, whether it's Macon Bibb County, whichever one, then they're fined. And so then it causes, a problem as far as it pertains to being cost efficient and effective. And so we're focusing on education, because I believe that the foundation of everything begins with education, educating our community. Well, in this particular case, that 31206 zip code, about what can be recycled in Macon Bibb, how to properly recycle, and then also increasing the recycling participation.
Well, what can contaminate a load? Give us some examples.
Well, for example, putting trash in a recycling bin. We have noticed that or found that in some cases, and not just in 31206, it's throughout various zip codes, that sometimes individuals have that blue recycling bin and they're using it as an extra trash can. And so that's the first no-no.
Figuring they'll take care of it down the road, but it's really not their job to separate this stuff that much.
Exactly. And so once again, just trying to properly educate our community, and starting with our schools and working within our school system, but also within our households with our neighborhood watch, and even whatever industries may be in that zip code. Everyone has an opportunity to recycle, whether you're recycling at home or you're recycling at school or at work. And so we just want to make sure that individuals know how to properly recycle. And with the Georgia Beverage Association, particularly with the Made to Be Remade grant, they are really focused on the recycling of plastic bottles and aluminum cans, because of course the beverage industry, that's a cost of goods that they utilize, so we can have our Coca-Colas or our Pepsis or whatever your beverage of choice may be. And so by them being able to get the plastic bottles and the aluminum cans recycled back, it helps to alleviate the cost of goods that it costs to produce the products that we then buy from off the shelves. So it's the beverage companies, the beverage industries, the Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, and others, Dr. Pepper, Snapple, have all invested in this program. So the Georgia Beverage Association can offer grants such as the one that we recently received.
There are so few things that we can recycle and so many more that we can't. Let's just do the ones that we want to recycle and put in that can.
Yeah. Well, I always tell people, always just start small. And so plastic bottles and aluminum cans, I think that may be just the easiest. If you don't recycle anything else, definitely those plastic bottles. So your Coca-Cola bottles, but also your aluminum cans as well. Those could be canned goods also. So if we just did that, because plastic probably is the most used recyclable item anyway. And we're seeing a great deal of issue as far as plastic as it pertains to getting into even our water systems all the way into our ocean. So if people the easiest thing is, to go with what you know. And so definitely aluminum cans, definitely plastic bottles. But then of course things such as cardboard boxes can be recycled. Now, there are certain things that I've even begun to learn myself as far as just with cardboard, for example. For those who may frequently order from Amazon.
That's right.
I recently learned too that the Amazon, the boxes that you have the tape, because of the tape that's on there, that causes it not to be recyclable. And so that was something that I didn't realize because I'm like, it's cardboard. So even with cardboard, you have to make sure that if there's any tape or anything or any glue, all of that is removed from the box. But we could also recycle, like I said, plastic bottles, aluminum cans, cardboard, your cereal boxes, which that falls within the cardboard, category. But pizza boxes cannot
Pizza boxes.
Well, because of the grease from the pizza. And so because of that contaminates it.
You wouldn't think so.
You would not think.
No,
and so, yeah. And so I always tell people the best thing to do is first just look up online to see what your municipality recycles. Because in Macon-Bibb, for example, even though glass is recyclable, we don't recycle glass. We don't have a processing facility for Macon-Bibb that we partner with to recycle glass.
Aluminum cans?
Aluminum cans can be recycled.
Plastic bottles?
Plastic bottles. I say start with those.
No glass bottles?
No glass bottles. Even though glass in Macon-Bibb, even though glass is recyclable, not in Macon-Bibb.
And that's the contamination process when they see a lot of this other stuff in there.
Exactly. And so that's why it's key to just know. For Macon-Bibb, you would just go to the Macon-Bibb website, hashtag solid waste, and then it's a list as far as what can be recycled and what cannot. Because it's something, it doesn't necessarily mean that people are recycling wrong, but they may not be cycling correctly as it pertains to the municipality in which they live in.
So our folks at Ryland get this recyclables, and where does it go from here?
I can't necessarily answer that question. I'm not sure as far as where they send it to. I believe they use a recycling processing facility somewhere in South Georgia. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure exactly as far as where solid waste, where they, who they contract with as well. So I can't necessarily tell you where it goes once they receive it.
Depends on the markets too. What the money that's available for those recyclables to Ryland.
Not necessarily. It just really depends on who they contract with. No different like how Macon-Bibb contracts with Ryland. So it really just depends on who they contract with.
So we're in South Macon. What's the zip again?
31206, which is actually the zip code where I grew up in. And so we are focusing our recycling initiatives through the Made to Be Remade grant. On that zip code. $25,000 is a good deal of money. We're appreciative of it, but it only goes so far. So that's why we chose to focus on one zip code.
So what will you do with that? How do we get it to your zip code and those schools you used to go to?
Well, the first thing that we're going to do is, the two elementary schools that's in that zip code, Bruce Elementary School and Southfield Elementary School, we've already begun the process as far as making contacts with those schools to try to arrange to do various recycling presentations and initiatives. We on a regular basis already go into schools, usually based upon requests, Keep Macon-Bibb Beautiful, through our education committee. So it's really expanding what we've already been doing, except this time we're being more intentional, focusing on recycling, focusing on those two elementary schools, as well as the Bloomfield Gilead recreation center with their after school program. So we have an opportunity through those 3 outlets to be able to educate and reach students. But by working also with the Bibb County Sheriff's Department Neighborhood Watch program, Judy Gordon, who's the coordinator, who also serves on the Keep Making Bibb Beautiful board, I've already identified about 8 to 10 or so neighborhood watch associations that fall within that 31206 zip code. So we'll be visiting those various neighborhood watch meetings, talking to individuals about recycling, the importance of recycling, and it's twofold, trying to increase recycling, but also make sure people know what to recycle.
You mentioned Judy Gordon and Neighborhood Watch. What about the Education Committee? Tell me about it.
Well, the Education Committee just year-round works with as far as going into our schools, our public, private, and charter schools, but also reaching out. And this past summer, we even did a few summer camps. So our Education Committee, pretty much ever since the founding of Keep Making Bibb Beautiful, has had a partnership and relationship with our local school system, whether that be public, private, and now we have charter schools.
And what do they do?
Well, it's a variety of different things, and so it really depends. But most people know us as far as for our anti-litter and our litter prevention and litter reduction campaigns. And so that first core of it is just making sure that our students know why they should not litter. And the impact that litter has on our community. And then from there, we go into other ways as far as how we can reduce waste, and that's where the recycling piece comes in, and also other eco-friendly ideas of things we can do to reduce waste, like having a water bottle, a reusable water bottle versus a disposable one. So things such as that. So we've been doing that, the organization has, ever since its beginning.
So the kids can go home and teach mom and dad.
We hope so. And so, and then we also have like educational literature, like coloring books and books and things like that we've also given to students that have the message that ties into our mission, which is, of course, litter reduction and litter prevention, but also waste reduction with recycling and other beautification efforts.
Education Committee and Keep Making Bibb Beautiful have a big event coming up.
Yes, right now we're already in the midst of all the packets have been sent out for the art and essay contest. So hopefully we should be receiving those entries very soon. This is the 5th year of the art and essay contest, where students have an opportunity, grades K through 5, to share what they can do to keep making Bibb beautiful through their art. And then the middle and high school age students, they do the essay portion, where they can also, through their writing, share as far as what responsibility or what they can do to help keep making Bibb beautiful.
So when we have this all together, what do we do? How does this culminate? Do we have an awards program?
Yes, it all culminates at the Douglas Theater. For the last, I guess this will be the 3rd year, we will have the award ceremony at the Douglas Theater, where the students, all the students who participated, as well as their teachers, principals, members from our school board, are invited, and of course members of the Keep Making Bibb Beautiful board. And then the students have an opportunity. That's when they get their awards. Each category, we have a K through 2 second grade category, 3rd through 5th, and then a middle school category and a high school category. In each category, you could either be 1st, 2nd, or 3rd place.
And we've been doing this for 5 years.
This is the 5th year. It started as a result due to COVID, when we weren't able to go into schools. We had to come up with a creative way. And when I say we, I actually wasn't the executive director at that time. Janice Habersham, along with Henry Ficklin, both came up with the concept and the idea to partner on that initiative and have a way to still be engaged with the students due to COVID, not being able to go into the school systems, but still being able to have that education component with Keep Making Bibb Beautiful.
Speaking of folks, Janice Habersham, quite a member, isn't she?
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. Very dedicated, former board chair herself, but now serves and has always served as the chair of the Education Committee.
Now, those two grants are added to, seems to me, about every other meeting we have, we're announcing grants. Let's go back over the past year or so. What are some of the grants that did come in?
Oh, wow. Just over the past year, we've gotten a couple of grants from Keep America Beautiful. So we received the Keep America Beautiful Dr. Martin Luther King Community Improvement Grant. We've actually received that grant for 3 consecutive years in a row. The very first year we received that grant, we invested in planting trees along Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, right in front of where the Macon Water Authority in that area. And then the following year, we received the Dr. Martin Luther King Community Improvement Grant, and we created the mural / and documentary of Dr. King. The mural is located at 1410 MLK Jr. Boulevard.
You can see it going south.
Yes, you can. You can.
MLK.
And then this year, we received $5,000 for the Dr. MLK Community Improvement Grant. And those funds went into creating an outdoor learning center called the Cozy Corner at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School. So as you can see with that particular grant, the funds have to be used to beautify streets or communities, or in this particular case with the most recent, schools that are named after Dr. Martin Luther King.
The school's on the other side of town, but Green Bottom, that's been
Greenwood Bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The first 2 years we focused on Greenwood Bottom with the grant, with the tree planting, and also with the mural.
That's the upgrading of that area, bringing it back the way it used to be. It's a very historical area of Macon.
Yes, it's a very
disappeared for a while.
Yes. It's slowly but surely. Primarily, one particular family, the Harrells, Harrell's Barbershop, is probably about the only original business in Greenwood Bottom that survived and is still here today. And so, a lot of the heirs of Mr. Harrell are still running the barbershop, but also have purchased other businesses in that area to try to bring the neighborhood back.
We've gotten other large grants to plant trees, haven't we?
Yes, we've received a few tree planting grants. Cox Communications, we planted trees at 3 elementary schools, 3 or 4 elementary schools in Macon. We also, through the James M. Cox Foundation, we received a $50,000 grant to do some park improvements at the Fort Hill Community Park on Eastview Avenue here in Macon. And then we also received grant funding previously from like AARP and some smaller micro grants from like Keep America Beautiful. So just to name a few. So we have been doing a lot within the community. A lot of our grants, well, basically all of our grants, everything that we do in the community, whether it's grant funded or not, goes back into the local Macon-Bibb County community, whether it's through tree plantings, whether it's through beautifications at schools, beautification projects at Macon-Bibb County parks and whatnot. And of course, we do numerous cleanups and clean throughout the city.
We've received anonymous grants too.
We did receive the biggest grant that we received, or I guess not necessarily, or donation, was over $100,000, actually totaled $108,000 from an anonymous donor. And that was specifically focused on tree planting initiatives. And so we have throughout the city planted trees from Pleasant Hill to Fort Hill to you name it. We've planted several trees and still have funds that, not to mention also too, the money that we received also from the Ficklin Family Foundation to plant and revitalize our cherry blossom trees.
We got a rather new cherry blossom trail in the downtown area now.
Well, we're trying, it's still in its infancy stage, but we have planted some cherry blossom trees like at Coleman Hill, also in the downtown area, Mulberry Street, Cherry Street, Washington Park, even a few at Tapnell Square Park as well too.
The cherry blossom trail and the cherry trees, we're trying different varieties of trees to lengthen the bloom season.
Yeah, to lengthen the bloom season, and then also too, just with the with the extreme heat and the change in climate, unfortunately the Yoshinos aren't necessarily able to withstand the heat that they did maybe 50 years or so ago. And so we have planted other varieties like the Helen Taft, Oshimas, and it's 100 different varieties of cherry blossom trees, but we haven't planted 100 different varieties, but we have at least about a good, about 4 different varieties of cherry blossom trees that we are planting. So as they begin to mature and grow, we'll see different also shades of pink.
Our cherry trees down here last, 40, 50 at very most years, but
not really, more so little, almost half of that. Really about the actual maturity. Now, of course, you have exceptions. Really, is about 25, 30 years at the most. Yeah.
I was trying to give them a break. But up in Washington, trees they gave them over 100 years ago are thriving. And then if you go to Japan in the cold weather areas up there, they live for hundreds of years.
Yeah, well, that's their native land as far as in Japan. I can't speak to Washington. Their climate is a little bit different from ours. They're able to get more chill hours there sometimes than they are here. And so, because it's a foreign tree. And so with the other tree planting grants that we've received, that's where our focus has been heavily more so also on our native trees. We're not out of the business as far as cherry blossom trees, but we also do realize that it's not a native tree to Georgia. And so when our other tree planting initiatives, like with the anonymous donor was very clear that those funds were to be for native trees.
Okay. The Thickling family have just been wonderful over the years.
Oh, yes.
Providing us what we needed to plant and replace those trees.
Oh, yes, and tree samplings and giveaways throughout the years for the cherry blossom trees, absolutely.
Let's move over to just simply litter. Mm-hmm. It's everywhere. The harder we work, it seems like.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's a daunting task. It's not just an issue, as far as I tell people, there are probably about 800 Keep America Beautiful affiliates throughout the country. And it's probably another 800 that's needed on top of that. And so that shows it's not limited as far as to a make and build problem. But litter definitely is an issue just throughout our state, throughout our country. Some areas, of course, are in more dire straits than others, but that's why we rely so heavily on the support of our volunteers, but we have to also have the support of, in our particular case, our local municipality, because it's only so much we can do with a litter grabber. We need some heavy duty equipment, and so that's when the Public Works and the Solid Waste and the Parks and Recreation and Parks and Beautification departments come in. So we're more of a support system. I tell everyone we can't fix this problem, one volunteer, one community cleanup at a time. It's a collaborative effort.
Well, you mentioned the city. They plant the trees. They help take care of the trees. And what else do they do for us?
Well, we work with when I say all the departments, we work primarily though with Parks and Beautification. They even go above and beyond as far as even with helping us with a lot of the litter cleanups. But we also, we rely heavily on our Solid Waste department. That's how we get our dumpsters at our various cleanups, but as well as Public Works and even code enforcement. We get a lot of code enforcement calls that Keep Making Beautiful. People still, associate us sometimes with being a make and build department, even though we're more so a make and build partner. So we get a lot of code enforcement calls. And so I have to transfer or email and share a lot of information with that department as well.
And even though we're a separate organization, the city helps finance everything we do in a way.
Yeah. Well, not everything we do because because we've been able to earn at least, match what we've received from the city and what we've fundraised ourselves through donations, through grants and whatnot. But we get, for the last 3 consecutive years, each fiscal year, we've gotten $170,000 from Macon Bibb County. And so even though that helps us with our operational costs, to be able to do a lot of the extra things that we're doing, that's where we have to rely on those grants and donations. We are a nonprofit 501c1 organization, and so because of that C1 status, it does allow us to be able to get other funding through some grants, not all, but through some grants, and then of course financial contributions.
Of course, a lot of our cleanups are organized. You deal with a lot of groups in town. What are some of them that that really come out every year?
Oh gosh, I don't want to name names just because then I'll forget someone and someone will see
Well, I'm
this.
going to mention something. Mercer University. Tell me what they do.
Yes, well, they come out. We actually had just this past week. We did a recycling event where we partnered with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Capital City Home Loans, and other organizations. But we had a lot of Mercer students. It just so happened it was their Be a Good Neighbor Day.
Oh, I know. I see them everywhere when they have it. They come out by the hundreds.
Yes.
Well, I want to mention something, if you don't mind, about the producer, director, and everything on this program, except sitting here and asking the questions, is Charles Watts. Charles was our producer, director, and behind the scenes, all the supers, the sound and everything, passed away recently. And it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And this is the first program we're recording since then. The last one Charles produced for us was Mayor Patrick down in Warner Robins. And that program's been running for a good while, and this will be the first one that comes up after that. And we miss Charles, and as a visitor from time to time, you've experienced Charles too.
Yes, Charles was a very kind man, a man of few words, but was very efficient, very effective, and definitely a huge loss for this organization, for this production.
And a lot of people back there, and I know Charles couldn't donate much to us, but there are people who can leave money to the organization after they passed. Isn't that right?
Yes, it hasn't happened since I've been executive director, but of course
maybe we need to work on that.
Maybe we should. Maybe that'll be a board project.
Yeah. But looking ahead to the future, what do you see for us?
Well, we're just going to continue to do what we're doing. We're going to continue to focus on our mission, which is improving the quality of life of all citizens here in Macon-Bibb. And we're going to do that through our litter reduction and prevention initiatives, our beautification initiatives, and of course, continuing to focus on educating our community.
And if they want to help, we're always looking for members too from time to time.
Well, we don't control that part, but we.
How does that work? How does that work?
Well, our board is selected, is actually appointed by the mayor and the county commissioners. So
if they want to serve, they could contact His Honor or a county commissioner.
Or they can definitely still contact Keep Making Bibb Beautiful, and we can forward their information, their name up. Yes.
What type of people you're looking for?
Well, anybody who's willing to work. There's no right or wrong. You need people, of course, in a nonprofit who can fundraise, but you also need those individuals also too who have the abilities to roll up their sleeves whenever. So it's no cookie cutter board member for Keep Making Bibb Beautiful. Just someone who's willing to serve and serve based on the mission and the goals of the organization.
And we have good lunches at our meetings too, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Thank you, ASHA, for being on the Middle Georgia Spotlight today. And on behalf of Charles, in memory of Charles,
yes.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Ron Wildman over here at WMUB.